Hi, I'm Kimberly, working with Astrid, Camille, Emily, and Joey, and together we worked on the fundraising event. So, a short introduction. Our objective was to host a virtual fundraiser as a concert raffle to raise $500 for Family Care Network Inc. And all of our scope was kind of viewing a 1.5-hour event. We were going to be holding it on Friday, February 26th, and we were going to be performing live on Twitch. And doing that was the Honey Boys, which is a local band comprised of slow students. And we also had raffle donations from different local businesses, ranging from Boo Boo Records to Central Coast Outdoors. And in the end, we had 21 people at our peak, and we raised over $500 for the Family Care Network. As you can see on the right of the screen, we actually had people directly interacting with us throughout the whole stream in the Twitch chat feature.
So to develop our project plan, we first defined a scope, which was just mentioned in our objective. For our event overview, we wanted to include a band to increase the likelihood of attendance out of excitement for live music. We also wanted to have a raffle to market our local businesses while also creating an element of attendee participation. And then finally, we wanted to prioritize our FCNI donors, which were the event attendees, and make sure they were comfortable and entertained the entire time. So we had 3 milestones, and we picked these as milestones because they were significant merge or burst activities in our project, and it was really significant as they definitely represented different points where we were able to kind of consolidate deliverables and then start a bunch of new deliverables that were really significant to the project's success. For our technical requirements, we needed to make sure we had a functioning Eventbrite page, which Camille did a great job crafting, and then finally make sure that Twitch was effective, our streaming software. So making sure that the internet and audio was effective there. And thanks to Kimberly for making that so well done. And then for limits and exclusions, we wanted to not include volunteer hours as an option, and also make sure that gambling was not occurring, as that is legal. So we did some research to make sure our raffle was appropriate for this event, and we found that it was. And in our priority matrix, we constrained time, enhanced performance, and accepted cost. And the reason for each of these was that the limitations of the quarter, as well as for marketing, time could not be adjusted. We wanted our participants to enjoy the performance as much as possible, and we accepted that Eventbrite was going to charge us some fees, as well as Cal Poly for processing fees. And then for developing the project plan in terms of resources, we knew that we had needs for FCNI's requirements, Cal Poly's marketing informational needs, and then our project management information. And we use these resources listed here to accomplish all informational requirements. And then for our estimation approach, because we had an internal small project with a moderate level of uncertainty, we went with a top-down approach and it decided on the consensus method. And the reason for that was because we had no similar projects to look at beforehand, and we used our pooled project academic experience to guesstimate how long each deliverable would take.
So in order to properly manage our schedule, we created a work breakdown structure and a Gantt chart through Microsoft Project. And we quickly learned that our project would be a time-constrained project because of our agreement with the band and our requirements for the class. So we had a couple parallel activities, which were like posting on social media along with emailing professors and getting the band familiar with Twitch. And then our burst activities were, for example, right after we created the Eventbrite page was when we had all the networking tasks that we wanted to do. And then our merge activities included a lot of the milestones that Joey mentioned earlier. As the project manager, I was in charge of making sure that the Gantt chart was being up to date, and also making sure that the team members were staying on task and fulfilling their tasks on time. And the work breakdown structure was really great for helping to establish the communication channels between the team members. So we knew that we'd run into some problems with our schedule, and we had a couple methods to try to overcome these. So one of our issues was the overall schedule slippage. So we had some new requirements that came in unexpectedly, including the unexpected IME department requirements. And so in order to overcome that, we used some resource leveling and took advantage of our Slack. And then for some scheduling issues with the band, what happened was that the band was not available at the time that we wanted to have a pre-run with them. So we had to crash our run through with them. We also wanted to overcome inefficient resource utilization. And an example of that was when we had to call businesses in order to acquire donation prizes. We ended up having 3 people working on that task rather than just 1 person because it was such a large task. And also we wanted to make sure we didn't have any resource bottlenecks. So we didn't want to over allocate resources. So what we did was a lot of resource smoothing. And we were lucky to have a lot of Slack in order to overcome this.
So the parts that were integral to our successful teamwork was initially establishing a shared vision. Everybody was involved in the brainstorming of our project, and everybody contributed to the aspects of our project scope. We also had a team bonding event. We had a coffee chat, which allowed us to kind of solidify a team identity and get to know each other on a personal level. We had effective project management or project meetings each week, which allowed us to give major updates on our parts of the project, as well as nobody felt like this was a waste of time, and it gave an opportunity for us to come together each week. We established good group decision-making tactics by bringing all decisions to the group and making sure that while each individual was in charge of their own kind of area of the project, everybody was able to validate their decisions and make sure that we move forward as a unit. And we never really encountered any team conflict due to having good open communication and just general respect for each other's opinions. And then the key parts of our successful project management had to do with our leadership strategies. So the first of those was having effective stakeholder communication. Emily did a great job making sure that Family Care Network and the Honey Boys were updated at every step of the project, and our project sponsor was never left in the dark. As well as once we knew that we had some extra communication needed with the IME department, Ashford made sure that they were always being updated with the proper forms and let them know as to where we were in all of the processes that they were asking of us. We also established really strong team trust, knowing that our project manager would have our back, as well as knowing that each of our other team members would meet the project deadlines that we had been setting, as well as meet them to the level of quality that we would like. And finally, we established our own roles and responsibilities, which allowed each of us to select whether we wanted to be more of a management type leader or just more of a leadership type leader. And that made sure that each of us were playing to our own strengths and fitting that parameter within the scope of our own comfortability and how we would like to proceed.
So finally, we have our course overview. Initially, we assembled our team. We brainstormed our project ideas for the fundraiser, which we were assigned. After our brainstorming, we established our scope and created our work breakdown structure to start completing tasks and deliverables. Then we had all of our weekly check-in meetings to make sure we were fulfilling our work breakdown structure. And then we did our risk management for our event. We had our event, and then we've been in the debrief process since then. And then we also had a lot of industry applications from working on this project. We were working with a diverse group of individuals who all came together for this project. We had to develop our remote communication since we were, again, with remote learning, as well as remote project planning, which is very applicable to industry right now since a lot of them are also remote. We were also able to mirror industry with our position assignments, having a project manager, assistant project manager, etc. We also had to learn how to deal with upper management. And for us, that was Cal Poly and the IME department. And then we also learned to manage risk and handle unforeseen risks on our event day. And finally, we had some really big lessons learned. And we learned that our project can be influenced by a lot more than just the stakeholders. There were other people who ended up affecting our event, and we had to handle that as it came. We realized that risk management should be a huge priority for any project. And then we also learned that test runs are super vital. As Ash had mentioned before, we were not able to do it the time that we wanted to. So we learned that that was really important, as well as open communication, making the project so much better, having a really cohesive group from day one. And then finally, just connecting with our team members on a deeper level made our project so much better and helped us to create an awesome event.